Welcome back to the Tap 2 podcast. I'm here with my lovely friend Stosh. And Stosh, I'm just the luckiest guy in the world. And we're going to be talking about luck a lot today, and I'm just really feeling it.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to talk about something we talked about last episode, which we're expanding upon something we talked about last episode, which is gambling.
And some people say if you would have asked me a week ago how I feel about gambling, I would have said gambling is bad. Gambling is terrible. You should stay away from all sorts of games of luck and chance, and don't put your hopes on these esoteric options or what have you. Personally, for me, I've turned around. The
Oh, yeah.
Washington Wizards recently won the draft lottery, and that's the greatest gamble of all time, baby. I'm high as a kite. And I think gambling is good. And I know you're gonna spend this entire episode trying to talk about the pervasive nature of it and how it's addicting. But have you ever considered being good at gambling? It kicks ass. It it,
So
it
true.
completely changes the vibe.
If you're bad at gambling, then it's obviously a skill issue.
If you're bad at gambling, what you really have is a problem with commitment because all you have to do is keep going until you win. You are one hit away from the jackpot. Keep lucky number 7, lucky number 7, lucky number 7, keep pulling.
99% of people quit before they become a millionaire.
Yeah, yeah. Think about this, right? You can only lose the money you have, but you can gain an infinite amount of money.
That is actually horrific. That is like the mindset that somebody who gambles has. It's like, yeah, well, but it's just not true. It's fully not true. Like, you can lose
Stop.
your money, your friends' money, your parents' money. You can lose an infinite amount of money, and then they'll kill you. Like,
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, Stash, can I talk to you over in this corner? Let's leave the podcast. Let's
yeah,
pause the
yeah, yeah.
podcast. I need to talk to you over here. So things have been going pretty bad for us lately. So I did get us a sponsorship with DraftKings. So I'm gonna need you to shut the fuck up about this, about this hoity-toity gambling is bad bullshit. Because I'm trying to get to the bread. We're
Yeah,
changing some shit
yeah,
around.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. Everything we've been diametrically opposed to on this podcast is coming to a stop today because of this episode sponsored by RainBet.
This episode is coming to you live from Kick.com, and we're gonna be talking to you about gambling.
Well, can I
Go
can
ahead.
I give us a little context on how we got here, Jonas?
I would love to hear some context about gambling.
Okay. Now, we talked about this last episode, but I should also let you know contextually, I'm in the middle of watching The Sopranos, and I've avoided all spoilers my entire life. So don't fucking say anything if you're watching this video. I don't know a
Bada
single thing about
bing.
it, but the episode we just watched was it's not really a spoiler, but a couple of the guys got booked for uh running sports betting on the Super
Yeah.
Bowl. So that, of course, is apropos because in 1961, right, the Federal Wire Act, Congress tries to kill mob run sports betting by criminalizing wire communications used for wagering. That's like the
Okay.
first instance of trying to limit this, which is crazy to think about. In the 60s, they were like, yeah, we should probably stop this because it's causing people to like it's too much money that is unregulated, and also it's ruining people's lives. And today it's like, oh, did you see that new ad from DraftKings where Kevin Hart and LeBron James are and Drewski are talking about betting?
My glorious King LeBron James. They're making it really hard for he keeps doing stuff that makes it really hard for me to defend him. But yeah, it's gambling has become so pervasive in every single part of our culture. I've been trying to watch the news more because I've been trying to stay informed, and I'll watch the news and I'll be like, "Welcome to CNN. Now, have you put out a Kalshi bet on your poly market odds or blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "What is happening?"
Dude, even just like the way it has the way it has sort of taken over just like normal, like I was looking up the Red Sox Phillies game and like what was sort of some of the insights to that, just because I was curious. And it's like immediately the first line is the Boston Red Sox parentheses favored by 1.5 are, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why do I need to know that? I'm not on a betting app. Like, it's crazy. And then on the
Let's get
side
that
of
over
like
under going.
any sports talk show where they're like there's always some like money line thing going. It's just like crazy. And I know that we're probably in a smaller camp because I know way too many people who are into sports gambling and of course have it under control the same way someone who hits like a vape pen has it under control.
It's really a really hard discussion, right? Because it's a balancing act of like I don't want to be holier than thou by being like gambling is evil because there's some the vast majority of people are like I put $5 on a game I'm watching or I'll put $20 on a thing blah 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 and it gets me more invested in the game because I have something to win or lose and I'm paying for the entertainment of that like the heightening of those emotions, right? The same way I would pay for a beer during the game because I get more excited because I've finished drinking a beer and now I'm more engaged, but it is insidious in nature because it's actively like feasting on that part of our brain that's like I'm smarter and I'm better and I know something that no one else knows and I'm going to earn free money. Gambling wouldn't exist if it worked.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you
yeah.
could be a good gambler, gambling wouldn't like be a thing.
The definition of the odds are literally like you and a million other people thought the same way. So now we're going to bet against you. Like,
See, I here's the thing. I don't have hubris. I'm just better than everyone else. I might be better than the gods themselves. I am on stand upon a mountain alone. That's how I feel when I'm gambling. Well, I don't even gamble. Like that's the thing. That's how I feel when I think about gambling.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, okay, so in 1992, right, the
Okay.
PASPA Act gets passed, and it effectively just bans sports betting across the country, except in Nevada. Then there's a few other things that happen, but really, I'm trying to bring us to the next point, which is 2018, where basically the floodgates open. So New Jersey fights the PASPA Act, it all goes all the way to the Supreme Court and wins. And the court rules it violates states' rights, and then states basically race to legalize and cash in. That's why today you've got 34 states. Or sorry, in 2018 you had immediately 34 states have legal online betting, and the only holdouts currently, I believe, are still Utah and Hawaii, where you just cannot gamble online.
People are always trying to I feel like I've and I understand that states' rights must be used for good stuff sometimes, but I feel like people are always arguing for states' rights when it's like evil shit. Like they're always
Yeah.
like I mean, states' rights to what? There's always and it's like stuff like, yeah, I want to repeal abortion. I want to make like it unavailable to everyone, and it's my state's right to do so. And I'm like, what? Okay.
And it,
It's
it's also like it- you're talking about like structure that people want in place. It's like, okay, then we look at the data, there's a reason certain states are dumber than others.
yeah.
Like
No, yeah, type beat. I can't lie.
like I'm sorry, Kentucky doesn't got a lot going for it.
That's great. Hey, Kentucky, I think you have a lot going for you. Come on this side, baby girl. Don't let Stosh with his hoity-toity northern attitude. I'm coming from you from DC, south of the Mason-Dixie line, and we're really in support of you,
Well,
Kentucky.
so after 2018, right? Sports, I feel like the vibe shifted. We talk a lot about that. We talked
Yeah.
about it with the streaming culture, but like 2018, like it felt as if something took off in a real way where after that ban was lifted, right? Logos started appearing. There was like stadium signage, there's digital overlays during the games. All of that stuff basically just starts to pop up because it's no longer illegal. And ever since then, the amount it's the same way I think about like when you would learn about in school that they banned cigarette commercials in like the 70s because they were like, oh, we actually understand now that cigarettes are bad for you. And
Yeah, yeah.
I am curious if we'll ever get to the point where we see like gambling ads are bad for you, right? Because what we'll talk about in a little bit is like how this is affecting younger people who don't understand the value of a dollar, so they think they can just gamble whatever they want.
Do you think they're okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
What would you say the age should be before you are allowed to gamble, right? Are we doing just like a because right now it's like 18, right? That feels fine. That's when you become a legal adult. but like in regards to stuff like we obviously love video games, and a big part of video games is things like loot boxes and things like gotcha mechanics. Do you think those should be accessible to people who are under 18 years old, or do you think there should be a different parameter for those things? Because ostensibly they are not really gambling in the same way that like slot machines are gambling, right?
Yeah.
Or do those fall into the same box for you?
I think it's probably like I want it both ways, but I think they are different. I think that like
Okay.
walking into a casino, uh, metaphorically lighting your cash on fire and then walking out is different than you being like, I'm buying a battle pass that gives me a couple loot, and the loot doesn't really affect my gameplay, right? Like, I
Gotcha.
think those are fundamentally different. Anybody can play a video. Well, honestly, I would be curious if they would ever open the discussion for the same way there's ratings on video games now. Those
Uh-huh.
ratings are changed to basically be like, you know, this game contains gambling, or this game contains like the gamification of something. Um, yeah,
Well, I mean, they do the ESRB, which is for those who don't know at home, it is the managing body that does do like a lot of like the rating stuff. They do have a higher distinction of game for those with gambling. Like I believe Balatro, which I'll ring a bell for every day, is one of my favorite games of all time, initially received a higher rating because it contained gambling. It didn't, right? It was just literally it just happened to have cards in it, so that was kind of
right.
like a false affliction or whatever. But it I mean, it so it does show they are paying attention, but I guess it also shows like what they think of as gambling, because things like Overwatch is a big loot box ass game. Hearthstone is a big loot box ass game. I guess I'm really saying fuck Blizzard for some reason today. Uh,
I'll throw
and
out Summoner's War too. I'll throw out Summoner's War.
yeah,
No.
Summoners War. I mean, yeah, but they I hear they hire some really just like incredible content creators, and they sponsor some really, and you know what? I'll say it, handsome streamers. That's what I'm hearing on the news.
When you meet him, you let me know.
But but just in general, I think so. It's clearly that the governing bodies see these things differently. Like, no matter what our opinion is on the matter, it is clear that the opinion of those in seated power is that these do not count as um, gambling.
Yeah, I guess it's like what came first. Obviously, casinos have been around forever.
Yeah.
They just video games have just adapted that model, but I I I don't even know if it matters, because like yes, anybody has free will. They can walk into a casino and do what they want, but
Mhm.
when you talk about like what gambling is now, I think the highly highly pervasive nature of what gambling is now is way, way, way worse. Like 91% of college men and 84% of college women have reported having gambled, with 14% of those men saying that they've had gambling at problematic levels. So
Yeah.
then the question is, okay, why is an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old with no income being targeted, or like how are they into the world of gambling in such a way that they have an addictive problem? Like that number should be zero, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, there should be, in a perfect world, there should be like hard stops for when you can no longer gamble, right? They're like, whether it's income based or whether it's whatever based, you should be like, you can only gamble up to this much because you have up to this much. But we don't really exist in that world. It's also kind of hard because when you start saying things like that, it's when you start like kind of steamrolling towards a puritanical society.
Yeah.
Because I don't I was gonna sound crazy, but I consume alcohol, and I know you consume alcohol. Here's a photo of me and Stosh consuming alcohol. Anyway, but that's the thing, right? Alcohol has probably ruined way more lives than gambling. I don't know the specific numbers in regards to millions of people who are affected by alcoholism and millions of people who are affected by gambling addictions, but I would imagine the alcoholism number is quite large. Should we ban alcohol completely because people can't use it properly? I think like in a utopian society, maybe the answer is yes. But it's also like a puritanical society and one that which doesn't like trust people to have free will. And at what point do we say like, all right, well, cars crash a lot. I mean, I'm for the banning of cars, but that's because I'm a tofu
because
leftist or whatever.
we love a walkable city. That's
Oh
why.
my god, I love a walkable city. Can there? I don't know how this would be an episode, but can we do about nerds in walkable cities? Because I would
Yeah,
love to
yeah.
talk about walkable
Well,
cities.
we're going to talk about community and being able to walk to the local LGS, you know?
Yes,
Like
sir. Talk to him. Anyway, speaking of talk to me more about this the timeline in regards to gambling because I'm really fascinated by this.
yeah, so I mean basically 2018 is where the floodgates open. Some of the other stuff I had looked up for this episode was 2024, the University of Bristol they did a study that found that almost half of gambling ads on social media are hard to identify as advertisements, and they
Oh
just
yeah,
blend in to the content that people are already looking at. So like again, it comes back to that like almost predatory nature of
yeah,
gambling sites being like sneaking in a way to just get their users to buy in. And then like you look at it, there's a guy who goes to my gym, who's a lawyer, and he was talking about trying to work on a case against FanDuel, or DraftKings, one of them, where like their algorithm is built in such a way that if you open the app and you don't place a bet, you are getting a consistent number of notifications to try and bring you back into the app as much as possible. The same way that
yeah,
every app works, but like, oh, you didn't place a bet? Here's 25 bucks on the house. Place a bet. I
yeah.
have an anecdote about that. The my old roommate, love him. I introduced him to the fact that you could not only like that you have like obviously FanDuel, you can sports bet, but you also have the virtual casino.
You
And
got him hooked.
yeah,
You and he threw away his life now. Now
no, no.
he's in a gutter because of you, Stosh.
When I tell you I felt genuinely bad, we went to watch the Eagles game somewhere, and the whole time he was in his phone placing like bets and was up and then started losing. And I was like, dude. And then I said to him, I was like, this is how they get you. The system pulls you in, gives you a little bit, and if you walk away now, you're always a winner. And I go, you should bet all of the money that you made to see how it feels to lose all of it because it fucking sucks. And he
Yeah.
did, and he was not happy.
I'm s but
But I taught him a
imagine the
lesson.
imagine the dopamine hit if he got that. If he hit that bet with all of his money, he would have been on top of the world and you would have looked like a real Dumbo. If he would have just and here's the thing, all you guys have to do is be better at gambling. If you know ball, you could be rich right now. There is a 17-year-old with $1 million home because he's better at gambling than you. Because he went and he got his mom's credit card and he got the three funny digits at the back and he went and made bank. So if you're listening to this podcast, stop what you're doing. Go over to either your parent or your partner or find the closest wallet you can, and their money is your money. Play the Funkmaster Flex. Their money is your money sound right now, because we're gonna go and get that money. I've turned around. I'm back with DraftKings.
Yeah, this video is sponsored by FanDuel.
Sponsored by DraftKings. Well, you said something earlier about not being able to tell if something is an ad or not, and that has been happening so much to me recently. And I see these videos which I think are satire at first, and then I'll see that there's an actual link to Kalshi. I saw this guy. There was an Instagram ad, and he was like, "What? I'm watching the presidential speech, and I'm gonna bet how quickly he says China." And I'm like, "Wow, this is such a funny video." Like, I hope he makes like more funny humor videos like this. And it was a real ass ad. He was like dead ass doing that, and I
It's
mean, I'm blown
crazy.
away.
We'll
Yeah, it
talk
is
about it because
crazy.
obviously in nerd fashion we have to talk about Kick, right? The streaming platform.
Oh
We'll
yeah,
talk about that in a little bit, but also the amount of money that these companies have available to give to streamers, give to influencers, give to anybody to just advertise, advertise their podcast or their service, right? Like
yeah,
it's actually insane. The gambling market this past year is like was valued at like 650 billion or something like that. Like
That's more
literally
than like it seems like excuse me for this analogy, but that feels like more than film and TV combined or something crazy like that.
no, we are talking like to a point where it will eventually hit $1 trillion. And us as humans, I want you to think, if you're listening to this right now, I want you to
Okay.
think about 1 million of something. And
Alright,
then
I'm
I
closing
want,
my eyes.
okay, imagine you have $1 million bills in front of you.
Whoa!
Now, open your eyes and call yourself stupid because it's 100 times more than what you initially thought. We as humans cannot comprehend 1 million of anything. So
That's
imagine
true.
1 trillion. Like we're talking stars in the skies type of numbers, you know?
You're right. The way I was even holding it like a
Like
football made no sense. You got my ass.
you would have to drag it with a fucking wheelbarrow, multiple of them, you know? Like we can't comprehend, but for some reason these markets have blown up and we'll, like I said, we'll get into it, but I want to talk about the actual numbers behind what Stake, Rainbet, Kick, like all of them have done to just
Well,
give away.
I find this so fascinating, right? Because this is a very pervasive issue in all forms of our culture right now. Because like we're reaching the degradation of American like society. We're at a point where like it's just like it's bananas. The government is being run by an orange man and the principal is away from the class and the substitute is asleep at the desk and you can really just do whatever you want. You can bully whatever kids you want out of their lunch money and that is happening right now. But it's also like it is not just us. Like this is a thing that's happening like kind of all over the world. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, to my next point, you transitioned perfectly. The idea behind, because I was looking up, like they say, how do you know that the economy's doing bad? You look at gambling, right? Like you look
Yeah.
at what people are trying to do because they feel people who are experiencing the most hardship see money lines and odds and go, well, if I bet my last $100 I could make 3,000, that's my rent right there, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when the economy tanks, lottery goes up, and
Mhm.
those who face the hardest economic downturn, like in 2008, after Iceland's financial collapse, right? We all had a financial collapse, but specifically they did a study in
We
Iceland.
had a financial collapse in 2008. Where was I at?
We were
I must have
playing
not.
Wii while our parents were fighting in the other room.
Stas, you silly little goose. My parents were being divorced by 2008.
Same. So
Okay,
in
go ahead.
2008, they had the financial collapse. They said people who experienced hardship were 52% more likely to buy lottery tickets than those unaffected. And that
Wow.
same pattern showed up in the US, Sweden, and Ireland. So, it, like, if you have a lot of money and you
Mhm.
gamble, what's the difference? You lost some money, but you still have a lot of money.
Yeah.
When you have not a lot of money and you gamble and you lose your money, it hits you way, way, way harder.
I keep thinking about stuff, and this happens with every like so many different problems, like stuff like pollution, stuff like healthcare, stuff like even access to food. I keep going like, wow, for some reason these seem like big problems, but they don't seem like they're affecting the rich. If only there was, if only there was an explanation for why these systems don't seem to attack and bully the rich as the same way it does, the rest of us.
And it's consistent. It's almost like, and this is perfect. We're recording this at a perfect time because it just came out a day or two ago that like Zoran Mamdani, my fucking king, balanced the New York budget by taxing billionaires. By
Oh my,
taxing
what was it?
billionaires.
It was something like a $12 billion deficit or something like that. It
the
was
the
something crazy.
deficit of New York City was leveled out because a couple of people had to pay 1 more%. And
Yeah.
if you're not on the side of that, you're a bad person. Like
You're a bad guy.
you're a bad
And here's
guy.
the thing. If you first of all, if you care about it, then you have enough if you're the one being taxed, you have enough money that you're going to be fine.
Right.
And if you're not the one being taxed and you're against it, I don't know take that boot out your mouth. I don't know. Actually, I would love to gamble on how long you're gonna be licking that damn boot because I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna make a lot of money off it. Well,
I don't comment on Instagram like reels ever, but there was one
he's a
like
lurker.
I'm a lurker for sure. There was one about like a guy, something about billionaires, and the guy was like, "Well, they earned it. It's not my money." And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna comment. I'm gonna say something to this guy, and I just said, imagine thinking you have anything in common with a billionaire.
Yeah.
My
They
inbox
don't e
lit up.
they don't even, like, do things they don't even think about things the same way we even think about them. $1 billion is so much. That's why I'm in favor of Elon Musk's $1 trillion pay package. I think we should be supporting him getting to that bread because he worked harder than us, and he was as we espoused or whatever on this podcast multiple times, luck is a virtue. And what is more lucky than being born with an emerald mind? And I think that kicks ass. I
I
from
think he
one
should get
African
to a
American.
trillion, like I said
Yeah.
before, and then and then every year or every couple of years in fucking the short story lottery style, we execute one of the billionaires, and then their wealth gets dispersed among the whole world.
See, you're not thinking proper. I think a better idea would be instead we execute 10,000 people who have about $1,000 because that way the billionaires are safe. We don't need to worry about our most protected class. And then, wait, ca- Stash, I think I want to start the Hunger Games. I think I want
I was gonna say,
because imagine if we monetize this, we're getting to the bread crazy style.
I want to do purge. I want to do purge, but it's just
Yeah,
the
yeah.
wealthy people who have
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
nothing, and you want to do the Hunger Games.
Absolutely. Call me Cornelius Joe. I want to get to the bag.
So okay,
I
so
could get
coming
one of
back.
those weird fucked up mustaches. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna coming back to the actual gambling of it all, right? Like the idea that it's some for a few
Yeah.
is obviously a larger issue, as we've seen. But you wanted to talk a little bit about your what did you said you wanted to talk about something before we started recording.
Oh, well, before we started recording, we were just shooting the shit. And I was telling Stosh about like how gambling is pervasive not only here but all over the world, and how it's like affecting the things we do from the inside out. And it reminded me of an anecdote that I have been obsessed with recently, which is once again fuck Blizzard. I'm talking about StarCraft 2 now. Um in South Korea, like they love professional gaming. Like there was a weird summer or like weird 2 years where every company was trying to get into esports for some reason, and no
Yeah.
one could realize that it was a money making, like money losing pit that no one was ever going to profit from. But in South Korea, it's actually like a money making situation. And one of their huge celebrities was a StarCraft 2 player. He was exempt from the military draft that like I think even BTS had to go to the draft. That's how crazy the South
That
Korean
is
military
true.
draft
That
is.
is true, and they
Yeah.
had their
Yeah.
comeback recently.
Shout out.
I'm a BTS stan, so
I wish I could name a single John. There's like a John in there.
there's a
One
Jin.
of them, Jin. Shout out Jin for real. Shout out Jin and them. Is that Jin and them? Um, how do you how many people? What do you think the circle is between people who are gonna get a Chino Hills reference and a Jin from BTS reference?
I'm not me. Not me.
That's the dichotomy of our podcast.
Yeah.
But this player, this like StarCraft 2 player, he was like super huge, super famous, whatever. He got in super duper trouble because he was throwing games for gambling money. And it makes me think about like the pervasive nature of this gambling stuff. Because I can't, I mean, players are throwing games now in the NBA. And even if they're not, I like to think they are. Because that's the only way I can explain some of the
Well,
times when
don't
my team
worry.
is losing.
FBI Director Kash Patel is on it. He's investigating the gambling ring in
My
the NBA.
dog, my dog Cash Patel. Talk to him.
Did you
Oh,
watch the SNL cold open with Aziz
yeah,
Ansari?
of course I did.
Well, I
Do you
will
think
give it to him. The best line is, "Does this bar take cash?"
that's so hard?
That
Do
was
you think
so funny.
Stosh, do you think we can get Cash Patel on this podcast? Because I think there's like a non-zero chance we could sue him and invite, and he'd be down. This podcast that gets less than 100, less than 50 views. You think we could get Cash Patel on here?
I'm gonna DM him. Have you seen those things where it's like I'm gonna DM him a picture of like our podcast, a beer and cocaine, and it's gonna be like one of those mouse traps,
Under a
and
bar.
then I'm gonna send him. I'm gonna send him and be like, here, here, and then he's gonna send back, and then we're gonna have him on the
And
podcast.
then we're gonna have it. He's gonna love it. He's gonna become one of our boys. If I could become boys with one problematic GOP, I think it would probably be it's between Cash Patel. He's up there high on the list for sure because he will straight up use his money for evil. Like he'll charter a jet with the government's money, and I think that's sick. It's between him and RFK because I would love to do some pull ups in the airport. I think that would just be kind of a vibe.
Because that's what the airport needed.
Yeah, of course. Well, wait. We're getting so far off topic. I want to
Yeah.
talk more about
Starcraft,
gambling.
Starcraft.
StarCraft. Anyway, but yeah, so he got like in trouble. He got everything stripped from his name. It was like a real. He went to jail, I'm pretty sure, and had to do like public apologies. It is like an
How did they
actual.
find
They take.
out?
I'm gonna be frank. I'm not too familiar on how they found out. I imagine there was a investigation based on like, oh, why wasn't he doing this when like we know his caliber as a player, and you're so under
Right,
a
right.
microscope when you're performing at that level, and so that's why I assume that's how they figured out about the match fixing. But I can definitely figure out in check because I would be very interested in that.
Yeah, we're
It,
gonna make a post, a Twitter thread on how you know.
yeah. I did. I was the one who brought him in.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how
Dude, okay.
did it.
I have a question. I have a
Yeah,
question. I'm gonna ask I'm gonna ask things. You just tell me your gut check on it. If you
sure.
think this is gambling or not.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Loot boxes, gambling or not.
No.
Okay. I imagine you're thinking of aesthetic loot boxes, right? You're like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm thinking like Overwatch. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think what about like stuff like CS:GO crates where like people are selling and trading those things for money? There's a secondary market. And things like
Oh.
the Diablo auction house where they're selling those items for actual real life currency. Do you consider that gambling or not?
I
And the
guess
answer can still
yeah.
be no.
I think yeah.
Okay, I'm just
Because the
curious.
secondary market does change things, right?
Right, because now it's no longer about the game.
Right. And you've got people literally with accounts worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Well, okay. Now, in games in which there is gotcha systems that allow you to be better because of good pulls, is that gambling or not? And there's something good. There, you can say like there's
Yes.
positive. You can be like, hey, recreational gambling is good in like in small doses, whatever. That's not the argument I'm having. I'm just curious about whether what you think gambling is or isn't.
Uh I would call the gotcha game argument gambling because it has real effects on how your experience as a player it changes.
Okay. Now we both love Magic the Gathering. Stuff
Mm,
like that, stuff like Pokemon cards, stuff like all that cute stuff. You're ripping a pack. Is that gambling or not?
yeah, yeah, it is.
Ooh.
It is because
Okay.
all the three things you mentioned after the loot boxes, like well, cosmetic loot boxes, all have a secondary market, right? Every pack
Yeah.
you buy, each card has its own individual value. That value is determined by supply and demand, right? Or the
Absolutely.
market.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because I personally like those are three things I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah, I'll fuck with one of those every now and again. And so it's so interesting to see like, well, not to be like we're a little bit hypocrites, but like, I always love questioning my own hypocrisy and kind of diving into that. And I find that so interesting because if I'm in the I'm often in the grocery store and Target does this nasty little thing to me where they decided to start putting Magic the Gathering packs in the checkout aisle like it's a pack of gum. And so now every grocery run I do costs $7 more because I have to grab a pack on my way out. It's
They're like,
evil.
you want
It's
you want to hit?
insidious.
You want to hit?
Yeah. They're like, they're like, "Bro, you just spent, like, $60 on groceries, you might as well just throw a pack in there.
Yeah,
You were
treat
so
yourself.
good
You
with
did an
it."
errand.
Yeah, and you budgeted so well, and you grabbed all the items that were on sale, and you made a list before coming here, and you're looking good today. They started talking to me crazy, like, I get excited. Um, I don't know, so it's interesting to see about, like, the things that, like, I am, like, accepting and kind of like, you know, pro for. Like, I enjoy going to a draft night because it's fun to rip open a shit ton of packs and then
Yeah.
getting to play with them.
Yeah,
So,
I I would like, yeah, I would agree with you. I'm certainly not immune to any of this. Like, I'm not holier than thou. I am diametrically opposed to it, but it's in everything we do. It's in
oh, yeah, without a
everything
doubt.
we do. Social
Yeah.
media has gambling. So even this, right? We record an episode and we take a gamble on the fact that people will even listen, right? But
Oh, well, wait, now we're see, here's the problem. I think now we're extrapolating the human experience too far,
yeah,
where
yeah,
we're,
that's
like,
fair. That's
zooming
fair.
too far out, and we're like, anything that is not, breathing is a gamble, because what if I breathe in the wrong, uh, what if I bring in the wrong compound and now I'm dead? Or every heartbeat is a gamble. Like, now we're going too far.
Right,
We
right.
gotta reel ourselves back in. We're getting crazy with it.
Well, I want to talk about too because we're we're nerd focused. I want to talk about
Oh,
the
yeah.
streaming sort of on in regards
Ooh,
to like the last episode that we talked about.
hit me.
Because you mentioned the StarCraft player who ultimately ended up being like stripped of everything. Like kind of very similar thing happened, which I had mentioned before to XQC, who
Oh,
was
yeah.
he was like the professional Overwatch player, now variety streamer who like he has openly admitted on his stream that he has a gambling problem. And to give you the context, right? There's this there's this website called stake.com. I don't even know if it's legal in the US. I didn't even bother to look it up because I'm afraid of it. It was founded in 2017 by two like Australians, and they basically met because they were both in online gaming communities, which
Oh,
okay, so they see the games and the gamification, right? It ties in.
yeah.
The reason that they bonded was because they bonded over the virtual gambling space in, do you know what game?
Can I guess, like, World of Warcraft? Or
Cl-
RuneScape?
It was RuneScape. It was
Let's
RuneScape,
go!
yeah. They apparently, one of the founders, he won $6,000 on a family cruise when he was 12, which sparked his like interest
His
in
love for
making money very
gambling.
quickly,
What?
um
See, I think, why don't they just do it the honest way and sell drugs? I
right,
like, if
that's
you're
what we're getting at here. Don't gamble, sell drugs.
don't gamble, sell hit the streets! The streets, and because here's the thing, if you're on the corner, you're a member of the community. You're doing some face-to-face work. You're not hiding behind a screen. Well, I guess I bought, like, in I never did it, but in theory, when I was a teenager, a lot of people were buying their drugs online through the black market and blah 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 blah. So that's
What
like
were
totally.
they?
This was I see he and I just
I was a prudish
I don't
child.
know.
I really don't know. Like, were people on www.drugs.net? Like, what?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about, like, I'm thinking about as a kid, not me, of course. This is all for comedy's sake. I'm thinking about as a kid how much Bitcoin people I know wasted by buying drugs online before Bitcoin was, like, a thing, because that's just what we use to what people use to buy drugs. This is
Dude,
so
what the fuck
stressful.
is going on in Washington, D.C.? I did not have
Well, it
that
was like,
experience.
when I say drugs, it's like weed, you know what I mean?
But still,
Like,
people bought Bitcoin to be like, yo, I sold my dealer some Bitcoin, like, or I traded him
yeah,
some
I'm
Bitcoin.
gonna be so real, yeah. I don't
Whoa.
know what to tell you.
Oh my god, I did not know that was a thing. I'm very curious if anybody else in the comments has
Yeah, yeah.
had
How are
that
you guys
experience.
buying as kids, how are you guys buying your drugs?
Mine
And
was like our kid, not me, but like the people I knew had like older brothers, and I don't know
I'm
where
gonna
they just magically had it.
there's gonna be a counter for the covering our asses of
Yeah.
I don't wasn't me, but if people were buying drugs, the way they would do it is they would do it this way.
Well,
I was very grateful because luckily for me, I was always very sociable, so I never bought drugs ever. I would just be at places where drugs were, and
then
I'd
they'd
be
be
like,
like, I
"Cool."
like this guy. Give him
Yeah.
a.
Honestly,
Well,
yeah.
speaking of Bitcoin, the
Oh, yeah,
two
hit me.
founders of Stake, so they RuneScape, they were banned in RuneScape because they built an in-game casino. So they got
So, first of all, so sick.
that's kind of cold. I like that.
Yeah.
They were like,
I love I
we're
might
not gonna gamble, but we're gonna take your money.
yeah, yeah. When that kind of I mean, to this day, that's kind of their MO is taking people's money online when they're not expecting it.
And then
Yeah.
basically these two guys founded Stake, and they did it under a Curacao or is it Carac, whatever, their gambling license. And that was like at the same time that the crypto boom was going on, so people weren't gambling actual cash, they were just gambling Bitcoin, which of course there's like no regulation on, and the president
Yeah.
himself is fucking, his kids are getting rich off crypto. But
You're not buying Trump coin? I'm
I bought
heavy-handed in
I bought
Trump coin.
100,000
I bought 100,000 in
to the
Trump coin.
moon, to the
Don't
moon.
don't tell my girlfriend, but I have 1,000,000 Trump coin. That's the vibe.
So by 2021 and 2022, this is like another thing that started to spark controversy, is that Twitch most watched category, and I remember this being a thing, watched was gambling. And it
Was hot tub?
basically,
Oh, you said gambling. My fault.
yeah, well, this, sorry, second hot tubs, first gambling.
Got you.
And then it was like XQC and then Trainwreck, who were
Oh, yeah.
gambling under the stake sponsorship. Do you know the whole drama with the Trainwreck?
It wasn't he was Trainwreck, and cut me off at any point if I'm starting to become incorrect. Was he the one with the gambling addiction where he would like those imagine like a fake DM you would get from like if you're watching a YouTuber and you get a DM that looks like it's from the YouTuber going, "Hey man, just need a little bit of money to help me get by, and I'll definitely get you back." You're gonna assume that's a fake DM. Wasn't he like actually sending DMs to like fans and like smaller creators being like, "Hey, can I borrow a little bit of money just because I'm gambling, I guess?"
Yeah, he basically, like, under false pretenses would ask them for money, and it turns out that he was like gambling it away. He on an Overwatch stream, I remember seeing a clip. It was like, oh god, it had to be like 2022. Stake, so he was sponsored by Stake. He was like one of the first backers of Kick and stuff. He revealed that Stake paid him $360 million over 16 months, starting at $1 million per month and then scaled to 22.5 per month at peak, which, that's kind of like hearsay, but if it's true, it's the most sponsorship deal anybody has ever gotten. Like, remember we all freaked out about how Ninja getting $50 million mixer deal? This like
Yeah.
dwarfs that. Like,
Is he like a slant rusher? What is he? Why is he getting a fucking Cowboys contract? What is going on? What's happening?
it was literally, it was quite literally him gambling on stream, and people then started coming out. Like, I remember it was Pokemon, Ludwig, Mizkif, Hassan. They all basically came out and were like, Twitch, you have to do something about this. Like,
Yeah,
if your audience is primarily children or young people, you need to do something about this. And basically, like, 3 days later, they banned slots, roulettes, and dice games from unlicensed sites.
what worries me, right, is that people don't just give out money to give out money. If they are giving that level of money out, it's because they are making hand over fist more money from that. That means you are bringing in money.
Oh yeah.
And if someone's bringing in millions of dollars for gambling websites, I'm worried.
Well, then they also, that then sparked Kick, right, which like had come about through all these guys who backed Kick's like beginning, because they were basically like, hey man, there's going to be no fucking rules on this site. You can gamble, you can post explicit content, like everything you do on this site is going to be less monitored and you're going to make more money because it was like, for the most creators, Twitch was like a 50-50 split or like they got like 70 and Twitch got 30 or whatever. Kick was
Mhm.
like, it's basically all yours. So that led to then, the big names, Trainwrecks, XQC, that motherfucker Aiden Ross, like they were all co-founders and early backers because they were like, oh, a site where I can just do whatever I want. Sure, I'll gamble in front of hundreds of thousands of kids. Oh, and by the way, XQC, like he signed a $70 million deal with Kick, um, just to like be on the site explicitly. And then in addition to that, like Stake gave him dumb money to play with. So these guys are literally making millions of dollars by gambling in front of children. And it's, oh my God, it's so pervasive.
But okay, but Stash, what I'm trying to figure out here, and I just to latch on to something, what's the moral of this whole story? Like what should we be taking away from this horrific series of events in which people are, gambling? Is it a gambling is bad? Is it watch how you gamble? Is it be wary of like what is happening? What should I be taking away from this? Because right now I just feel bad, and I'm trying to figure out what am I leaving this call with.
I don't I don't think we're ever going to I mean we're obviously, especially under this administration stuff, we're never going to get to a point where there's regulatory, like strict regulatory constraints on gambling and sportsbook companies. Like that's just never going to happen. It's the same way big tobacco or guns don't get regulated because they just drive so much money. I think honestly, it's about like instilling in people how awful it is. Like if you could sit someone like XQC down and be like, dude, you don't understand what you're doing. You are ruining an entire generation because they watched you win $1 million in one spin. Like,
Yeah, but do you think that French Canadian Gollum cares? Like, who what
well, no, those
who
people
you
are too far gone. I'm saying, like,
Oh,
the people who have influence on the youth to be like, you don't have to do this. You can use your voice to promote good, right? Like, you don't have to be
you
a
don't
bad
have
guy.
to. Yeah, I was literally gonna say you don't have to be the bad guy.
I think it's really just an ethical, like, minefield, right? Because you've got streamers streaming online to a younger audience with house money,
Mhm.
gambling millions of dollars that's just not theirs. Like I'd probably be addicted too if somebody gave me $1 million and said just play with it. Um, there's also like research that shows gambling streams don't satisfy any sort of urge; they just intensify them. Right? It's kind of like exposing yourself to it.
Yeah.
Obviously, doesn't make it better. Viewers who watch report increased real money gambling afterwards. I get clips of like people going like winning
Hitting
thousands, and then I go, oh shit, I could probably do that too.
You get clips of people hitting it big?
Oh my god, yeah.
I'm on such a different part of the internet. I don't think I'm getting any clips of people hitting it big.
No, there's
See,
that
this
game. Have you ever seen the one where somebody like they bet like $10 and it's the plane that's supposed to like hit a bunch of stuff and then land?
No, maybe I'm not paying attention. Am I not paying attention to enough gamble? Is gambling like secretly getting into my brain because I'm not locked in?
Well, it got you with magic, so.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, no, the reason I got into Magic is because my friend texted me and said you should get into Magic, and it was my friend by the name of Stosh. So really, we should get mad at his ass.
So I'm the problem.
So
Well,
he's the problem.
look, we all come around because in March 2025, I want to put this out there because we've been very critical. Kick removed gambling content creators from its partner program. Like,
Okay, that's fair.
so they can't get a payout if that's what they do. And then, I mean, I think that's a sign that like even Kick is like, holy shit, like there's a
Like,
problem.
this is getting out of hand.
But then you just come back to like the fact that literally every ad you watch on any streaming platform is GLP-1 and fucking gambling. Like
And I have been trying to. I will say, I have been getting skinny and broke, so that does make sense. That does track.
skinny
Um,
and broke, and we're on our way up.
we're on our way up. I guess if for lack of a real through line or for lack of a conclusion, I guess what we're really the real lesson here is that like stay vigilant, I guess, be like if you are going to enjoy these things, and it's so pervasive that you can't avoid it, right? You
Yeah.
can not download the app or you can not do whatever, but there's still going to be gambling within your culture, right? It just is. And if you want to participate in that, you have to stay vigilant and participate in like a very healthy way. You have to know your limits and your boundaries, and you have to have hard limits and boundaries. Whether or not you're cracking packs, whether you're doing gotcha pulls, whether you're playing, whether you're hey, I got $5 on the game, totally chill. But make sure it stops at I got 5 or 10 bucks on the game and doesn't go into like fuck I parlayed my house.
Yeah, yeah. Also, if you're considering gambling, give it like 4 to 6 years and then
Yeah.
go to like shop for a house and then look at your peers and they're like, "Oh, I've never recovered from being a gambling addict," and you'll be happy you didn't. Like
It, how about this? For everyone at home, if you are considering gambling right now, I want you to cash app me $5 and 1 out of 20 of you will receive $20. That seems like a really good system. That's a 5% chance to quadruple your money. You will, I mean, come on. That's incredible. You know what? I'll make it $50. 1 out of 20 of you will receive $50. That's really damn good.
so we'll throw your Cash App up, and then when you have a
Yeah.
brand new camera and a new setup, we won't ask
Mhm.
questions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I have a monocle next time and a bow tie, you'll be like, I'm gonna. By the way, once again, I feel like the through line of our podcast is the second I get money, I'm switching up on y'all.
And
All
that's
my day
okay.
ones, yeah.
Just take me with
And
you.
absolutely. And if you want to help us switch up on our day ones, please check out our socials. Check out
Please, I'm
our
begging.
call. You know what? For our specific call to action this week, check out our Instagram. That'll be the specific call to action this week.
See, that's so easy. All you have to, you're already
Yeah,
on the app. You're already getting
you already,
fed ads about gambling. You might as well go follow the podcast.
bro. You on your phone? You might as well just check us out on Instagram at Tap2Pod.
Thanks for
Boom.
listening. Jonas, anything else you want to say about gambling?
Yeah. Gambling is fun, but fun things can be too much fun.
Let's
And you know
go
what?
gambling.
Let, aw, dang it.